The Apostle Paul has sent Titus to the island of Crete to continue the missions work that was started there, preaching the gospel, planting churches, establishing elders and overseers in those churches, and also rebuking false teaching. Now, since one of Titus's responsibilities is to establish elders and overseers, Paul gives Titus a list of qualifications that an overseer must meet. When we looked at this yesterday, I mentioned that this is not a list to blow off if you've not been called to be a pastor or a teacher in a church. Don't look at this and go, well, that's not for me, so that doesn't apply to me. That's for overseers. Rather, this is a picture of what a mature Christian is supposed to look like. When an overseer is placed in a church, he's supposed to be a model of mature Christianity. And so all of us should aspire toward this mature Christian quality that is given here. So I want to go back through these things again and break them down a little bit more and see how this applies to each one of us desiring to be mature Christians in the Lord. So Titus chapter 1, verse 7, the first quality that we see in a mature Christian is that they are God's steward. What does it mean to be a steward of God? We said this a little bit yesterday, but you are responsible with that which the Lord has given to you. In Ephesians chapter 5, it says, make the most of every opportunity, for the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. Each one of us has a respective calling. We have our individual walks in life that the Lord has called you specifically to. Are you making the most of every opportunity that you have for the glory of God, for the declaration of His gospel, to see others come to Christ? And we'll see more of that play out here as we continue to go through these qualities in mature Christianity. So first of all, a mature Christian is God's steward, and they must be above reproach. What does it mean to be above reproach? It means you not only abstain from sin, you stay away from even the appearance of sin. A mature Christian must not be arrogant, pretty self-explanatory, or quick-tempered. You have your emotions under control, or a drunkard or violent, or greedy for gain. Now, as that pertains to an overseer, if a pastor is greedy for gain, he is willing to compromise the integrity of the gospel to benefit himself. Would you be willing to compromise the truth for notoriety or financial gain? But rather, instead of being greedy for gain, we must be hospitable, as it says at the beginning of verse 8. And this goes right back into being a good steward of that which the Lord has given to you. You take the things that the Lord has blessed you with and use them to bless others. You are hospitable. You are a lover of good. You love good and desire to do what is right and pleasing in the eyes of the Lord. You are self-controlled. Interesting thing about that word, your translation, depending on what you're reading from, might have a different word there. That's translated from the Greek word sophrona, which means prudent. What is prudence? Prudence is provident care in the management of resources, wise in practical affairs, as by providing for the future. So this still ties right back into being a good steward of the Lord. We're prudent, upright, and holy. What is holiness? To be holy means to be set apart. In Romans 12, 1 and 2, it says, to present yourselves as holy and pleasing sacrifices to the Lord. This is your spiritual act of worship. Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by renewing your mind. And then you seek God's will for you, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. So to be holy is to be set apart from the world, and to be conformed to the will of God. We are to be disciplined, not giving in to temptation. We must hold firm to the trustworthy word as taught, so that we may be able to give instruction in sound doctrine and also rebuke those who contradict it. And even if your calling is not to a gift of teaching, you still know the difference between the truth, which accords with godliness, as described in chapter 1, verse 1, and the false teaching, which will attempt to draw you away from the things of God. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow, is the false teachers and what to look out for. Continue to read in the book of Titus. My encouragement to you is to read all of chapter 1 and come back. We'll continue these devotionals tomorrow.